There we go. Hey everyone, good to see you. Wait for a few more people to come in because I know we've got a couple more. I was only able to get to about half of the questions today, so this is going to be a two-part event. Today, I was able to answer questions for Robin, Samantha, Latoya, and Jen. If you did not hear your name called, then you will be answered next Tuesday. Robin, yours will be first. And I'm just going to wait one more minute so that we can give all the mamas some time to log on. As a mom myself, I'm usually late. I was running around making my tea and all my hydrating things and snacks. I loved all the questions today. They're so beautiful. And they're all over the map, which is going to be really fun. Robin, since you guys are here and you were first, I'm going to start with yours. I'm going to read your question first, just to give some context for everybody. And Robin wrote, I have a question for your children's reading. My 5-year-old stepdaughter, I hate that word, and I would agree too. I just refer to her as your daughter, won't sleep in her own bed. She can't fall asleep by herself, still wakes up multiple times a night, is quite restless throughout the night, seems 100% okay during the day though. And she's here, or when she's here, I sleep on the couch and she sleeps with her dad. What can we do to help her sleep better in her own bed? What would she need? Okay. As soon as I connected to her energy, she was showing me some feelings in her heart area. And it felt like she might be carrying some pain and trauma in that area that she's not been able to process at such a young age. It's almost like she doesn't have the capability of putting it into words for you guys. It feels like this pain and trauma might be coming from the separation of her parents or something around her not feeling like she has one single stable home environment. Like it's kind of, she keeps showing me like two pieces and like there's one and another, and she can't quite figure out how to keep the two together or how to make sense of making one out of two. This has led her to feeling like there's a lack of safety or stability within her home environment. So she clings to people physically who she feels safe with. So instead of having a house or a bed or something physical that she can run to or somewhere where she can find shelter or solace in, she runs to people instead because those have been the most stable figures in her life. And that's where she feels safest in that energy field is within their energy field. Like she connects to those people instead of places where an adult after working 9 to 5, we're going, oh, yes, I can't wait to go home. We get to relax. As soon as we step in the door, we feel safe. She doesn't have that feeling or that sense of stability in a home. So she finds that sense of relief when she's with the people that she feels comfortable with in their space of energy. So this manifests the most at night because this is when humans are the most vulnerable. She doesn't feel safe being alone. So instead of kind of what they're asking you to do is focus on shifting your energy from why isn't she sleeping in her bed to focusing your energy on how can I create a more stable, cohesive, safe home environment for her. Focusing your energy on the idea of creating a safe space that is one. It's like it's almost as if the energy in her room and the energy in your room is is broken. Like they're showing me like as if it were torn like this and the energy isn't together. So if you want to bring the energy from your bedroom into her room and throughout your entire house, create the stability that you have in your home space into her room. And then when you can focus your energy on creating a balanced, stable home environment for her, you're going to invite her energy in and she's going to start feeling a little more safe. And it's really through the power of visualization, through your thoughts, and then also staying away from thoughts around frustration, like, oh, why is she sleeping in her bed again? And feeling kind of exhausted with this whole idea of her needing to stay in your bed and you're on the couch and it's just kind of an inconvenience to you. These thoughts are actually repelling her. She can feel this energy coming from you. And then it creates a situation where she is feeling repelled. And then also it's perpetuating her fear and anxiety around the stability in the home, if that makes sense.
It does.
Another thing that would be really helpful for her is that she just really needs gentle, warm, kind gestures. She's showing me that she needs a lot of like this divine feminine energy, really, really sensitive, someone who's gonna kind of get down on their knees when they talk to her and look at her in her eyes and not from like a place above, but she really needs to feel that there's this sense of safety in conversation when you're talking to her on her level. Like she feels heard, she feels seen, and then at that point she can open up. It's from that level that you have to nurture her and give her this love and support her in your home. Grounding your house, meditating on creating a safe environment, one that is in harmony. Visualize her bubbled in pink light and surrounded by angels while she sleeps in her bed. So this is a way that you can gift her a transition into sleeping in her bed, is that you will begin to visualize what her energy looks like in her bedroom when she is surrounded by her team, because she does have a tremendous amount of angels around her. She just needs, there's almost like a disconnect. So if you can help her make that connection to that energy, invite them into the room, and then just kind of invite her into that space, and not necessarily in a forcing way, but you guys can say, hey, let's play a game in your room, or look, we got you a new stuffed animal. Isn't that so fun? And then when you've already invited her angels in, she will connect to that space more deeply and feel safer. There will be a really grounding, loving energy in that room instead of being a little bit trepidatious or afraid of it. Another thing that you could do is talk to her about how loved and supported she is. Talk to her about how safe she is when she can sleep in her bed. I don't know if the idea of talking to her about angels can scare her at this age, but if she is open to it, telling her that there are these beautiful supreme beings that are watching over her that can help her sleep and make her feel safe and that are always here around her to keep her held when she feels afraid. Another thing that you can do is create a grid of rose quartz around her bedroom. My daughter had a really hard time sleeping for the first 3 years of her life, and it really helped me by bringing in quartz crystals to every corner. And then I actually put one under her mattress or like around her head. The rose quartz is very supportive in a loving, gentle, kind way. So it makes it a great crystal for kids, especially girls. So if you can bring in it, they don't have to be big, they can be small, really small, it doesn't matter, but make sure that you do cleanse them often. So bring them out into the sunlight. You can charge them under the full moon, but creating that grid is going to help her also. It's going to elevate the frequency in that room and fill it with more loving energy. Another thing, I'm not sure if you guys are doing this, but cleansing your house with smoke is going to help too, so with sacred smoke. So they're showing me starting in your room and then walking around the house clockwise, making sure that you have either a door or a window open for the negative energy to exit. Do 3 rounds of this sacred smoke and just focus on bringing in love and light. And you can say, I'm bringing my house and I'm focusing on bringing in love and light, filling my house with love and light, and just repeating these words over and over as you're cleansing your house. And at the 3rd round, the first round will be kind of setting the space. The second round will be removing the negative energy. And the 3rd round, you're actually going to be bringing in the positive energy. So at the 3rd round, you can start visualizing what it looks like her sleeping in her bed, what she feels like when she feels safe, and what her room looks like full of love and support from the angels. Okay, that is everything I got for her. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourselves. I'd be happy to answer.
No, it was very clear for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It made sense.
Okay, good. I'm glad. There's so much potential there. So don't feel like this is how it's going to be forever. Kids are just so cyclical and there's just so many phases to it. And this is just a phase for her. So supporting her in that sense of energy is going to be really, really beneficial for her. You're going to help her heal too. There's going to be a sort of a jumping of timelines, if you will. So she won't feel like this is going to hold her back forever, this pain in her heart. If you can approach it from a sense of an energy standpoint, you're going to be able to heal these traumas and she's not going to be held back by them in her future.
That's great.
That's great to hear. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you guys. Next, we have Samantha. I'll read Samantha's question. Samantha wrote, I have 2 children. My son Parker is 4 years old and my daughter Hazel is 17 months old. My son has shown aggressive behavior since 2, off and on. He also won't touch fresh fruit and may have some texture issues. My daughter seems to have texture issues as well, with different textures like smoothies. Both my children have early teeth decay and have had to have dental work done at 1 year old. I would love some insight and help with their teeth. And would also love to know if my relationship with my children was in a past life. I have done a past life regression and my husband now was my husband before, wondering if my kids were my kids then too, and if we are supposed to have more. So Samantha, I have so much compassion for you in the way of teeth because we're kind of going through it myself with my kids too. And I can share with you what messages I've received for myself in hopes that this will help bring some peace to you as well. I know that you live a pretty clean lifestyle, and I do too. And it can be really discouraging when you feel like you're doing everything right and your kids are dealing with health issues. So know that this world that we're in right now, we're living in a really toxic world, and whether you're doing everything right or everything wrong, you're still going to have sick kids. So approaching it from a mindset of knowing that we're coming in here and we're going to have to fight for our children's health. It's just the way it is right now. And you are supporting them so well at this point in their life that don't worry, all the things that you've done are not all lost. It's just that we're going to continue to have to fight for our children's health. It's just the way it is. So with their teeth, it's a mineral deficiency when they're born and they have cavities at 1 year old. My daughter has cavities too, and she is 18 months old. And she started getting cavities as soon as her teeth came in. And I was just like floored, what the heck? My pregnancy with her was really easy in a physical aspect, but as an energetic one, I live in a place where I experience a lot of attack energy from my surroundings. This attack energy puts me on defense, and then also in like protection mode. So I'm always aware of my energy space. I'm constantly surrounding my home in protective energy. And I'm always calling on all of my guides, my higher beings that I know that are here to support me. But this takes a lot of work, not just like mental stimulation, but physical work. It actually takes a toll on me mentally because it is very physically taxing to do energy work. It's not just in your mind, it truly is very physical. So when you were pregnant or prior to pregnancy, I would ask if you may have experienced some really high stress levels as well. And in these high stress levels, know that your body will actually start to deplete itself of minerals, not just of hydration and water, but the minerals go with it too. And it's really hard as a mother when you are pregnant, nursing, your minerals are going to the children. It's not necessarily staying in your body, but those minerals are going to your kids. And with every birth that you have, you're losing minerals. With all of the nursing you're doing and breastfeeding, those are minerals out. You have to make sure that you're putting minerals back in. So one, support yourself and start nourishing your mineral sources and start bringing leafy greens, spirulina, barley grass juice powder, the heavy metal detox smoothie, bringing silica back in. All teas have a huge amount of minerals too, the herbal teas. And other things that will help is fresh juices, curcumin, magnesium glycinate, vitamin C, celery juice. All of these things are good tools for your children too. And I've started to bring these into my children's diet as well. I use this on my oldest daughter, and all of these tools helped tremendously with her teeth. And she's not had a big issue with teeth since. She's now 6, and she had to have 2 teeth removed when she was 3 because of cavities. So these protocols, I know that they help, and it's really, truly, I believe that they just need the mineral buildup, and you just have to really help support their bodies in nourishing them with foods that are going to help bring the mineral content in their bodies up. Maple syrup is another really great mineralizer. If you can do, I love to give my kids a maple syrup and lime/lemon water mix, and then I'll put all of their supplements in it. This is kind of like drinking an electrolyte drink. It's really powerful, and you can sneak in all the supplements, and hopefully that will work for you and your kids too. As for Parker refusing fruit or not liking fruit, it feels like he's a very strong little soul, and he really doesn't like to be told what to do. So it feels like you need to take the pressure off of him eating the fruit and maybe serving it in a fun way. Do it as if it were a game. I saw you getting skewers and putting little bits of fruit on the skewers as if it were like a color game or something really cool and fun to eat. And then invite him into the kitchen with you. They have really cool little knives that kids can use. They're plastic. They have very large serrated edges, and it's really mostly based on pressure. I do this with my kids, and I'm amazed at how much more interested they are in the foods that we are cooking when it comes to eating it. They're very proud of themselves that they've helped in the kitchen, and then therefore they enjoy in the meal even more. I feel like giving the power back to your son is going to help him want to choose to eat healthier foods instead of pushing him into choosing healthier foods or telling him that he should be eating them. It's more about letting him experience it, and then also allowing him to make the decisions. So if he at first chooses just to help in the kitchen and make food for his sister or for you, that's great. That's a really good step. And then eventually it looks like he's going to want to sample the blueberries or try the strawberries or see what it tastes like after the meal is all put together. And then at that point, he'll probably engage more with fruit. Also, they showed me making smoothies with him and letting him pick the ingredients. So that could be a really fun game too. My kids are really enjoying that one right now as well. There was another thing that popped up from an ancestral side around the food, and it feels like you are in the midst of breaking some cycles, negative cycles around food patterns, negative food patterns. They were kind of showing me like food being used as a tool for comfort or almost a way that you can escape discomfort and hardship. And your son is carrying some of this familial trauma around food, and his dislike of fruit and his dislike of fruit is his reaction to the cycle. It's how it's being worn in his soul right now. Talk with him about what parts of the body each fruit heals and strengthens him. One of my favorite books for this would be The Medical Medium Life-Changing Foods. This is like my encyclopedia for healing foods. And if you can choose a fruit and then start to share with him how these affect his body on a physical level, he might be more interested in partaking and eating them. This ancestral healing, it feels like you are trying, it's like you're kind of at the tip of the iceberg of breaking this cycle. What it's going to take is for you to really focus your healing energy on breaking these cycles around food. It also feels like there's like a tremendous amount of negative projections around eating healthy. Like if you eat healthy, you're trying too hard, or you're a bad person if you're a vegan, or there's some sort of verbiage that keeps coming up like that. I feel a lot of judgment, and you are the person who's going to be taking the brunt of this judgment because you're going to be the cycle breaker. And know that this is exactly how it was meant to be. While at first it might feel very painful, you might feel isolated, know that many people in this situation have, myself included. But making these decisions for living a healthier lifestyle for your family and breaking cycles is a big deal. And you have to be so strong to do this. And your guides are saying that this is what was meant for you. This is part of your soul's mission, is breaking this cycle so that your children are free of it. They show me gosh, it's like almost like chains around their neck, and they're breaking away free from them, and like their wings are able to spread and fly behind them because you've been able to break this cycle. While it's very, very hard, cycle breaking is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. Know that what comes of it is going to be so worth it. And it's just so beautiful how your children feel after you're able to heal these wounds that you have been carrying for your family. If you're interested in doing some of that healing with me, I would be happy to discuss a little bit further what this would look like. I could do a mama's energy healing for you, and we could dive into some of that ancestral healing. If that doesn't feel like a good fit, I have a few other people that I know of that do ancestral healing. So please reach out. I'd be happy to give you some more insight into that too. As for past life, they were sharing with me, it's so funny because they were like, yeah, of course, you guys have all been in past lives together. Your children, your husband, and you guys are all a part of this really intentional soul family, and you guys have lived many different lives together in different relationships to one another, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Some of you have been lovers. Others have been actually guides instead of being there in the physical form in that life with one another. But all of you are together in these contracts and in these lives because you all know one another so deeply that you can help each other learn lessons more quickly when you guys are together. So the School of Earth, the reason why you guys are here learning on Earth together is because what your husband brings out in you, what he knows about you innately, what your children can do for you, whether they trigger you or they're forcing you into ancestral healing, they're actually pushing you forward in your ascension, in your soul's healing journey on earth. And these are things that only your soul family could do for you, or that they could provide for you. So know that, yes, all of these souls are 100% meant to be in your lives. When it comes to whether or not you should have another baby, there's definitely like another, I see a little spirit baby and it's pink. So whether you choose to have her or not, she's available. Yeah, she's up. She's not quite in your aura yet, so it could be another year or so, but there's just a really beautiful pink little soul up there. And sometimes pink can mean a girl, but also pink can lead to a really divine feminine boy too. And these are really beautiful healing beings. So whether you choose to have her or not, she's definitely there, or they are there. If you have any questions, Samantha, please feel free to email me with them. I'd be happy to offer further guidance and kind of connect deeper on any of these subjects for you. All right. Next is love this one because Latoya is also a soul teacher grad, and she is somebody that I went to when I was first getting into this work, and she would help me to kind of understand what these messages that I was getting were all about. She also focuses heavily on mothers and children. She's a super gifted intuitive, and I will read her question. So I do not have a question that is specifically for my boys, but it's a question for the little souls in general, the ones that speak to me often. I consider them my soul's children, so technically they are my children too. I'm sensing a shift within my own reading sessions that they are requesting of me that will impact mamas and families on a deeper level. I just wanted a bit of clarity around when the shift change should take place, now or in like 3 months or even later. Okay. And she said she's looking for a second pair of magical mama eyes on the matter. I love that. Latoya, as soon as I connected to your energy, these little beautiful little soul babies they're all around you. They are in so many different facets of energy. You have like little cherub babies, and you have some that are just super gleeful and joyful, and then some that are very wisdom filled and a little more serious, and they're really up around your upper chakras here. And immediately upon entering your energy, they said, take the steps now to take the action later. So what they were showing me is that March or end April is when the shift is going to take place, but begin to build up to that point now. Explore what that shift looks like, what it feels like. How does your business change? How does it affect mamas? How can you better support your mamas? Your little soul children, they believe in you so deeply. They are your cheer team, and they ask that you channel their confidence in you and begin to embody this confidence beyond your practice as an intuitive, but into every facet of your being. They want you to light your whole soul and body on fire and allow it to activate every cell within you. Speaking words of encouragement, love, and empowerment to your body. Love this vessel through and through, and your mission will be set fire to as well. So I think that comes through pretty clearly. Of course, all the messages that you're receiving, Latoya, are right on. And I think what you're questioning is this, they're kind of showing me like your feet are stuck in something sticky. And it's like, all you have to do is just pull really, really hard, right? You just have to pull really hard and your feet are going to start moving. But it's that momentum of pulling forward that's a little bit scary for you and can be overwhelming. when you start to invest the energy back, the the energy of love back into yourself, that momentum is going to come much easier. You're not going to feel so stuck, and it feels like that stickiness is actually going to start to just dissipate and go away. So they're asking you to really focus on putting energy towards yourself right now, because that's what's going to help you build and prepare yourself for the huge shifts that are going to take place during March and April. And this fire energy is going to be really present, of course, the Aries season in March and April. But it's also going to be a fiery collective energy in that time period too. So in order for you to jump into that and really just set your soul on fire, just stepping into your mission fully and completely, you're going to need to just prep your body and get ready to be on that level of fire. Latoya, if you have any questions, of course, as I said, I'm always here for you. It's always great to have an intuitive friend, and I love you so much. So thank you so much for trusting me with these questions. I know that what you have to offer this world is so special. There's no doubt in my mind that you are on the right path. And I'm really excited for what all these big changes are going to be for you. Okay, and then we're going to shift into, just going to break that energy connection. So I rub my hands together and then create a new one for Jen. Okay, Jen, I'm going to read your question. Jen is someone that I also graduated soul teacher with. She is an intuitive and she's working on growing her own practice. Jen said, I have two little boys who are pretty close in age. Maverick is 5 and his little brother Crew is 4. I would love to know what their souls need from me to help them live their purpose and be their happiest selves. Any information their teams want me to know about them and how we can connect better, I would love to know. Also, my little ones are so picky with food, especially Crew. He has his few favorites, but won't dare to try anything else. Is there anything I can do differently around dinner time? Also wondering if Crew is a newer soul or maybe if it's his first time here, because he seems to always be daydreaming and he is a bit slower with his speech. Any insights would be so helpful. So as soon as I read Jen's question, for me, I got like full body chills when I connected to Crew's energy, and he stood out the strongest. So he definitely has some things to share. Actually, an old soul in a new body. He is very wise. He is wise to observe his the way he chooses to observe is not because of his lack of communication or his lack of ability to communicate. My oldest daughter, whom I spoke of a little bit earlier, who didn't sleep very well, she also has still a little bit, she's a little slower to communicate. While she is verbal, she didn't say her first words until she was about 18 months old. And words don't come to her very easily. She'll fumble over them, she'll trip over them. And we kind of wondered at a moment in time if we should start getting something evaluated for her, if there was something more to it, like a mental disability or some sort of learning disability, and if there was more support that we could offer her beyond just what we were doing day to day. After connecting with Latoya helped me with a reading with Clancy, our oldest daughter. And through my own intuition and watching her grow, I discovered that this is just a part of who she is. She is an extremely magical being. She is very intuitive. She's very connected to the angels. And her trip Earth side was not easy. She was physically very cramped because she was a twin, and then she had some health issues along the way. And so she kind of disassociated from her physical body and lived a lot, and still does live a lot, in her energy body. And so the connection between her energy body and her physical body, it took me many years to kind of help her get back into her physical body. But with a lot of work and a lot of intention, she was able to kind of make that connection again. That disconnect for us looked like her tripping all the time. She broke her nose like 3 or 4 times because she fell so hard just straight on her nose. She had she has a very strong curiosity, and she would get into things a lot, like a bag of flowers. She would throw it all over the room, just not to be naughty, but because like, wow, what does this feel like? What is it like if I do this? And then she'd bring her siblings into it. And for me as a mom, I'm going, oh my gosh, I have 3 babies and they're making huge messes, and I don't have the energy to do this. But as I kind of stepped back from the situation, I zoomed out, I realized that this is just her being curious. And if I can connect the energy of her soul to her body, she may be able to put 2 and 2 together, going, might not be such a good idea to be always making so many messes for mommy. So that brings me to Crew. He reminds me a lot of Clancy. He does not have any mental or learning disability. So know that this is just a part of his being. This is a part of who he is. This is a part of his journey. This is a part of his soul. He is an observer. He sits back, he watches, he takes things in. He's not action-packed. He's not going to take risks. He likes to sit back and assess situations. He evaluates every detail. In fact, he is actually very, very brilliant. The way his mind works gives him the space and time he needs to process and integrate into this human form. They kept showing me the image of an old man, and it's like, gosh, I'm trying to think of what do they want me to name him? What do they want me to call him? In, in Asian culture where they have the older figure and he's just, whether it's an emperor or somebody like that, but he's very wisdom filled and they all look to him for advice, and he's super connected to the ancestors. This is what they were giving me for Crew. So he is coming here as a super high vibrational being, a very, very wise being. And it's almost like this physical form for him is like, what? I can't believe I went from this to this. And this is so slow. And everything is here that he's carried on through his soul life. He's still very connected to his crown chakra, to the wisdom of the universe, whatever that may be that he has access to. And he's just kind of sitting back and not figuring it out, but just letting it all play out. He will, it's kind of like his journey is going to unfold in time. So just allowing him that space to unfold is going to be really important. He's going to need a lot of support because this is not something that everyone is going to understand. Some people are going to see his lack of communication skills and want to label them. So you're going to have to be his advocate, and you're going to advocate for him when it comes to schooling. If you choose to do public school with him, you're going to have to find some really unique educational circumstances for him, because he's really a special being, and these special beings are here to do big work. But in this vibration that we are as humans, we don't quite understand those kids yet. I would definitely say he's a child of the sun. So he's been handpicked and sent here with a really special mission. And you being intuitive, it's a part of your mission to help support him in his. So what that looks like for you is maybe even homeschooling him, or finding something like a nature school would be really helpful for him. But he's going to need to have some space away from the traditional schooling systems. One, because he will be misunderstood by teachers and also the children. Two, because he actually is going to need and require a lot of quiet time and time in nature where he can kind of unplug and just be in his own essence and be present. They shared with me that he is almost like I've met a few of these peacemakers through children's souls, but they all come in different forms. And they were showing me that he is a peacemaker through teaching. He likes to remain inconspicuous and kind of behind the scenes. He's not going to be on the forefront. He's not going to be a teacher in the traditional aspect or way that we think of teachers now, in front of a classroom, in front of somebody speaking. He's going to be doing it in a very subtle, behind the scenes way. And it's almost like he's going to be weaving in his wisdom in a very tactful way, but a way that isn't uncomfortable for him. It's going to be very intentional and a very pre-thought, like there's going to be so much thought put into it before he lets this wisdom go. Maverick, on the other hand, I think his name is so fitting, by the way. Maverick allows him to work behind the scenes, and they're a beautiful match, which is why their souls came here together. Maverick is very upfront. He's outgoing, curious without measure. He will take risks, and Crew will help ground him to hopefully making wiser choices. Crew will not connect to societal expectations, and he will actually be almost a teacher in showing how it's okay to give others permission to be uniquely themselves. So by you guys watching him embody this permission, because he's not asking for permission from anybody, he's just being himself. But by being himself, he's able to invoke this sense of, wow, it's okay for all of us to be exactly who we want to be. And so he's going to give your whole family unit permission to be the most authentic versions of yourself without fear of judgment. Then they showed me somebody almost like Jesus, who did what he felt like he needed to do. He fulfilled his soul's mission. He didn't really care about the judgment. He walked with pride in knowing what he knew. This is the very similar vibe to what Crew is carrying too. So yeah, just know that Crew is very special. Yeah, they wanted to say that Crew walks and shares his message. He walks with and shares his message for greater good with an unwavering strength. Not a lot came through for the food piece, but I think that this is some really beautiful stuff here for you to mull over with Crew. I think it would be really beautiful to get a full reading on Crew. I walked away going, I would love to know more about this little guy. So if you're interested in a child's body and soul alignment, I would love to do that with Crew. Maverick is definitely the perfect brother for Crew, and they were so meant to be in this relationship as brothers, because Maverick is also going to teach Crew what this like fiery aspect of being a human looks like, because Maverick is very comfortable in this human form. He's comfortable pushing the human form, where Crew is not necessarily in that way at all. Okay. John, if you have any more questions, feel free to email me. I'd be happy to offer any more guidance into this. Some love with those two boys. All right. And I have my sister, Lindsay, is here, and I'm going to do a quick impromptu reading on her daughter. She asked me, her daughter is really loud, very, very, very vocal. She's the first child of theirs, and she puts all four of my kids to shame, and I thought I had loud kids. So her name is Stella, and I have read Stella's energy before, and Lindsay's wondering why Stella has such a loud voice. The reason why Stella has such a loud voice is because she has a really big mission here, and she's going to be using her throat chakra a lot in this mission. She is going to be, it's almost like she's sharing seeds of peace, and she's going to be traveling around the world to connect this network of peacemakers. So when she lands on these, for lack of a better word, communes almost of peacemakers, she's going to be a teacher, and she will show them how to live a peaceful life, what it looks like to truly embody this movement of peace. And then she's going to draw people in with her magnetism to these communes. Then the people from these communes are going to kind of web out and start to connect to the rest of the world. But she has certain landing points all over the world that she's going to be connecting to and traveling to regularly to make these connections. In her, so her throat chakra is really, really important. And right now she's kind of exercising it through her yelling and her very vocal expressions of excitement and noise. It's going to be really important that you don't try and tell her to be quiet, that you put her in situations where she doesn't have to be quiet, that they don't expect her to be a quiet child. If you do put her in situations where somebody's going to ask her to be quiet, or that she's going to have to be a better listener than she is speaker, you might actually start to take some of this magic away from her, and it'll start to kind of affect her confidence. It's going to be a challenge when you put her in daycare or school, because there's not a lot of loud kids like Stella, but you can kind of put her in these programs and let her teachers know that, yeah, she's really vocal. It's just a part of who she is. And we think it's a really special part, and we don't want her to feel like she can't express herself. So it might be important to teach her how to express herself without the use of a really loud voice. She might be able to express herself through dance or something really physical, where she can kind of have that release that she has this, that she experiences through her throat chakra. I think that other creative outlets would be really good for her too. So if you can encourage her to draw, I know that Aveline, my youngest daughter, she was drawing with crayons when she was like 6 months old. So starting to do that with Stella might be a really great way for her to release some of that. It's just energy. It's nothing that she's like thought of. It's not preemptive. It's not negative at all. It's not because she's feeling like she needs to like let these bursts go. It's just like energy comes through her and it comes out her throat chakra, and then she's just loud. So it might just kind of showing her how to express in a different way may be really helpful too, especially leading up to her going to daycare or school or something like that. I hope that helps. Do you have any questions, Lindsay? You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was like right right on point with her. It makes a lot of sense. I was just thinking like every day when she's just super expressive and um, she wants to tell you something, but obviously she doesn't have the words yet, so she's just like that, or something really loud. So it makes sense that she needs like another outlet to kind of express herself more, or I love that idea of telling her teachers that she's loud and this is how she expresses herself, and I think
Totally.
that will be important.
Yeah, that you guys embrace that. They're showing me too that you can also practice a visualization of watching because she's still really connected and in tune with her soul and her higher self. So watching that light beam shine through her crown, her third eye, her throat chakra, it almost kind of gets a little bit stuck here because this is where she's the most comfortable, but helping her move that energy down to the rest of the chakras and grounding that energy into the earth. So if you can visualize the light moving past her throat chakra and how much power she has, you can actually move this power and help ignite and activate the rest of her chakras too. So it's not getting lost. You're not taking away this power. You're actually just empowering her full body and persona with this energy that she carries in her throat chakra. I think that would be really helpful. And then they're showing me that, dance is going to be really beneficial too to help her that energy that she's so comfortable in having in this area. It's actually going to help move it physically throughout the rest of her body. So encouraging dance would be really helpful for her too.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Awesome.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. And that is all I'm going to do for today. So like I said, we're going to have a second part next week on Tuesday at 11 a.m. If you can't make it, don't worry. I will answer questions and then I will send the recording to you. They're all going to be available on my YouTube at Aligned Mamas Healing. And feel free to DM me, to email me with any questions that you have about your readings, or if you have any questions about future readings, I'd be happy to go further in depth with all of your children or even you and do some greater healing and some more deeper connecting with their souls so that we can get down to what's really going on and what the truest part of their path is and what their soul's missions truly are. You can book through alignedmamashealing.com. You can also find the link in my bio on my Instagram. And if anybody's feeling called, we have our mentorship opening and we will be working on connecting to our soul's purpose as mothers. But prior to that, we need to heal ourselves and work on healing our energy so that we can get in alignment with our soul's purposes. If that calls to you, or if you have any questions, feel free to email me or DM me about that as well. I'm really excited about that program and I can't wait to be working with you mamas one-on-one. Alrighty, I'm sending you guys all the love. Thank you so much for being here and I look forward to next week. Bye.